Welcome back to CARAHCAST, the podcast from CARASOFT, the trusted government IT solutions provider. Subscribe to get the latest technology updates in the public sector. I'm Anthony Jimenez, your host from the CARASOFT production team. On behalf of CARASOFT, we would like to welcome you to today's podcast, focused around our 5G webinar series. Ted Ross, CIO of the City of Los Angeles, Sean Setter, Director Solutions Engineer of Product Specialization at T-Mobile US, Steve Gonzalez, Global Technical Leader for Mobile Security Solutions at Palo Alto, and Scott Raban, Consulting CTO at CARASOFT, will focus on key technologies and use cases within the City of Los Angeles.
Good afternoon, everyone. CARASOFT Technologies would like to welcome you to our third webinar in our CARASOFT 5G series titled 5G Strategic Advantages with T-Mobile US and Palo Alto Networks, Key Technologies and Use Cases with the City of Los Angeles. The audio portion of this webinar can be heard through your computer speakers. Please note that all of your lines have been muted to reduce any background noise. If you would like to ask a question throughout the presentation, please feel free to do so by using the Q&A pod on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. We will set aside time at the end of the presentation to host Q&A, and our speakers will answer your questions over the line. If you are unable to get to your questions, our team will follow up with you offline. This webinar is being recorded, and a copy of the presentation will be emailed to you. Now, just to tell you a little bit about CARASOFT, we are a trusted government IT solutions provider delivering software and support solutions to federal, state, local, and education customers. CARASOFT maintains dedicated teams to support sales and marketing for all of its vendors. Our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, so please do not hesitate to call or email us with any of your needs. At this time, we'd like to introduce the speakers for today. Ted Ross, CIO of City of Los Angeles, Sean Setter, Director Solutions Engineer, Public Sector, Product Specialization at T-Mobile US, Steve Gonzalez, Global Technical Leader for Mobile Security Solutions at Palo Alto Networks, and Scott Raban, Consulting CTO at CARASOFT. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Scott.
Sonia, thanks very much. Let me also do a little bit of a introduction to 5G at CARASOFT. You know, on top of what Sonia called out for CARASOFT in general, over the past 3 years, we've been developing a competency in 5G and overall wireless, where we've established partnerships with over 40 technology and solution providers in the 5G and wireless space. T-Mobile and Palo Alto Networks being two of our partners in this area. It's a really exciting time to see the inflection point with the US federal government, especially taking a much greater interest in 5G deployment for what we call standard use cases, but also very interesting and boundary stretching requirements that are adapting 5G to all sorts of different scenarios. We're also seeing growth in the public sector with customers like the City of Los Angeles, and it's great to have good representation on this front today. So let's get started with our panelists. First, thank you all so much for taking the time to do this today. It's been great prepping and speaking with each of you and hearing your relative expertise in the areas that you represent. I'd love to do a little bit of a round robin where we get a bit of a deeper dive from each of you on your involvement in 5G and the solutions that you bring to the table. And Sean, I'd like to start with you. Tell us about your role and give us an overview of what T-Mobile is doing in this space.